My name is Ethan, and this happened when I was in my second year of college. After my first year, I didn't manage to secure a spot in the campus dorms, so I had to rush to find an alternative. After a hectic search, I landed in a shared co-op housing arrangement just off campus. It was a cluster of 3 houses, a little far from the university, but manageable. Not exactly ideal, but cheap, and I didn't have many choices left. I had a bike, so the extra distance didn't really matter. The place was mostly filled with students, which made it easier to settle in, but there were a few outliers. Some older folks pursuing degrees later in life, a couple of teaching assistants, and 1 or 2 alumni still hanging around. But the person who caught my attention almost immediately was a woman living in the house across from mine. She looked to be in her late 50s, though she carried herself like someone older. Her graying hair was usually tied up in a messy bun, and she walked with a limp, like her back gave her trouble. She didn't talk to anyone, ever. She'd move quietly from place to place, always alone, and always with the same distant look on her face, like her mind was somewhere else entirely. I assumed she had some ties to the university, maybe an old professor or someone just finishing a long-forgotten degree, but no one ever really explained, and I didn't ask. The first time I noticed something off was in the communal kitchen of our house. Now, the strange part was every house in the co-op had its own kitchen, so I had no idea why she was using ours. She wasn't cooking or cleaning or even talking. She was just standing there, completely still, while everyone else was chatting, cooking, playing music. It was like she didn't belong, yet she stood there like she owned the space. I caught her staring not at the group, but at me. I tried to brush it off, thinking I imagined it, but each time I looked over, her eyes were still locked on me, not moving, not blinking. It got under my skin more than I wanted to admit. Later that week, I was working on a paper in my room. I glanced out my window just to give my eyes a break, and there she was again, standing in the middle of the street. No coat, no hat, just staring straight toward my room. It was cold that evening, probably close to freezing, but she didn't even shiver. At first, I couldn't tell if she was really looking at me or just in the direction of the house. But I got this intense, deep feeling that her focus was me, my window, my room. For some reason, I gave a small wave. I don't even know why. Reflex, maybe, trying to break the tension. She didn't wave back. Instead, she started jumping, like hopping in place, like a kid hearing good news. Then she turned and ran toward the house opposite mine. I just stood there, confused and unsettled. That was the moment I truly realized she had been watching my room all along, and worse, now she knew exactly which one was mine. Later that night, I mentioned her to one of my housemates. He simply said, "She's always been around. Best to just leave her be." He didn't know her name or why she was living there. He just told me. It was something passed down, an unspoken rule. Everyone knew to stay away. I wasn't satisfied with that, so I started asking around. Eventually, one of the senior residents who lived in her house told me she was somehow affiliated with the university and that she was harmless, just a bit off. He said no one could choose who lived in the co-op because the property manager handled assignments. His tone made it clear the conversation was over. I tried to put it out of my mind. I really did, but things didn't get better. They got worse. One night, just past midnight, I opened my bedroom door and nearly screamed. She was standing in the hallway directly in front of my door. No knocking, no sound, just standing there. I instinctively stepped back. My heart was pounding. She didn't say anything. She didn't move. Then, without a word, she turned around and walked away, as if I had intruded on her space. There were other encounters after that. I started seeing her in places she had no reason to be near my door, in the laundry room during odd hours, once even inside the storage closet rummaging through boxes that weren't hers. Then came the night that changed everything. I had lost my room key a couple days earlier, a big deal, because all the rooms in the house had their own locks. It used to be a hotel decades ago, so the old system was still in place. Most people didn't bother locking their rooms, but I always did. I had a spare, sure, that the thought of someone else potentially finding my key made me deeply uncomfortable. It was around 3 a.m. when I suddenly woke up. I didn't know why at first, but then I heard it, a light, rhythmic thumping coming from my closet. Every few seconds, just a soft bump. I sat all day there, frowning, but I'm not someone who panics easily. I got up quietly, tried to keep my breathing calm, and moved slowly toward the closet. With one motion, I yanked the door open. She was inside, crouched in the corner, wearing one of my neckties, not like a scarf, but tied tight around her own neck. In her hand was a kitchen knife. Her eyes were wide and completely vacant. I screamed, loud, real. Startled, she lunged at me, swinging the knife in a wide arc. I barely managed to dodge and grab her arm, wrestling her to the ground. She was smaller than me, weak, but frantic. She kicked, clawed, and bit, screaming in some language I didn't recognize. My shouting woke up my housemates. A couple of them burst in and helped me pin her down while someone else called the police. When they arrived, they took her away without resistance. She didn't say a word the entire time, just stared ahead with that same blank look. Later, they found my room key in her pocket. It took a few weeks before the full story came out. Turns out, she was the property manager's sister. He had let her stay there secretly, knowing she had severe mental health issues. Rather than getting her help, he shoved her into an empty room and told everyone to pretend she was just another resident. He was arrested soon after for negligence and a few other charges. As for her, I don't know what happened. I haven't heard anything since. I don't hate her. I really don't. I think she was a broken person who needed help and never got it. But that doesn't erase what happened. I could have died that night, and the thought still keeps me up sometimes. I'm graduating this year, and while I'll miss many things about college, I'll never be able to remember it without thinking of that night.